Now that Tesla has unveiled the brand new Tesla Model Y Juniper, and we also have the brand new Tesla Model 3. So the question is, which one would you buy? Well, in this video, I'm going to let you know which one I would personally buy if I was in the market for a brand new Tesla, and let you know why I would buy that specific model. Before we jump into Photoshop, I want to show you the design changes and something that I want to change on the Model 3 in Photoshop. We're going to compare it from the front, side, rear, and also the new interior. They added some new features to make it a little bit more interesting in Tesla's interior for the new Model Y and the Model 3. But before we do that, let's check out some of the spec and tech here from these Car Scoop articles. I'm going to link them down below. So at $59,990, the new 2025 Tesla Model Y Juniper launch series is $4,000 cheaper than the old one, and that is because it includes a lot of standard features. You have all the extras, including full self-driving, and save you up to $4,000, as I said, over the old Model Y. The only version of the new Model Y available now is the long range, and I'm not sure if they're gonna release a rear wheel drive only and a performance later on. I do think probably a performance, because that was selling really well, especially here in the States. And you get 4 color options and 2 wheel choices, all at no additional cost. And Tesla claims the Model Y has a 320-mile range, up a little bit from 311 from the previous long range, and 0 to 60 takes about 4.1 seconds. And this is, in fact, the world's best-selling EV. The outgoing Model Y remains available, though. This launch series edition comes fully loaded with every option as standard. Pretty cool to see. You have this exclusive to this edition are features like a unique badge. You have puddle lights and launch series branding on the wireless chargers. More notably, full self-driving is included as well. And that used to be, I remember it used to be a $10,000 option. So factoring in the $7,500 federal EV tax credit, the new Model Y price falls to $52,490. And for comparison, the outgoing Model Y long range starts at $47,990, and that is without all these options that you have here. The old one used to have 19-inch wheels as standard. This one comes with 20-inch wheels as standard. And you also have, as I said, these 4 color options. You have Stealth Gray, Pearl White, which is a really nice color, specifically when you have black accents on the car. You also have Ultra Red and Quicksilver now, no extra cost again. But however, you don't have the Glacier Blue color, is no longer available for this edition. And with the exception of the no-cost Stealth Gray, these colors command $1,000 to $2,000 premiums on the old Model Y. And if you want to tow with your Model Y, you can add a steel tow bar, which allows for up to 3,500 pounds of towing. Now, if you were to equip the pre-facelift model long-range all-wheel drive with all these options, the Quicksilver or the Ultra Red paint at $2,000, you have the 20-inch wheels at $2,000, tow hitch $1,000, and the white interior at $1,000 as well. Acceleration boost also $2,000, full self-driving $8,000. You would spend $16,000 more than the base price, and that makes me think that this is a pretty decent deal, specifically with this new interior that we have for the Model Y, looking pretty good. As I said, the old one had 311 miles of range. This one has a 320 miles of range. The new top speed is 135 miles per hour, which is also faster than the old one. You have a 15.4-inch infotainment screen, redesigned seats with ventilation now up front, and an overhauled dashboard with configurable ambient lighting, which is something that I think is nice that they put into the Model Y and the Model 3, because it makes it feel a little less sterile and a little bit more cozy in the interior. That is something that was desperately needed for Tesla's interiors, specifically the Y and the 3. They will also get the turn signal stalks in the United States that they get in other markets as well. And they also reconfigured or retuned the suspension as other markets, boosting comforts and providing better steering response. Now, looking at the new Model 3 performance here, this is actually cheaper than the long-range Model Y, and that is a huge deal. You got 510 horsepower from this dual motor now, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. You have an updated design, improved interior, upgraded powertrain, 510 horsepower, 546 pound-feet of torque, and the range is very, very good too. 296 miles of range for the performance model now, Model 3. The pricing starts at $52,990. It features a new performance drive unit that delivers 22% improvement in continuous power, as well as 32% increase in peak power. And peak torque also climbs, and the energy consumption drops. So everything looks good so far. The Model 3 Performance has a top speed of 163 miles per hour, or 262 kilometers per hour. It makes me wonder how long the battery is going to last at those speeds. I'm always interested in seeing that. It would be cool to do a test like that. Very hard to do, of course, to keep this top speed for a long period of time. But you could probably do it for a while on the Autobahn for sure. So equipped with bespoke components that reduces mass and improves stiffness. Among the highlights are adaptive dampers. This is what I love that they did with the Model 3. They really set it apart from the rest of the Model 3 lineup with the performance version. You have adaptive dampers, hollow piston rods, multi-section stabilizer bar, ultra high strength steel springs, and stiffer suspension top mounts. And the adaptive dampers adjust in real time, and you have 3 different drive modes here. You have standard, sport, and track. And the track mode is now more advanced and integrates motor control, suspension controls, powertrain cooling, and Tesla's vehicle dynamic controller under a single unified system. It's supposed to deliver a more predictable driving experience. Now, you also have a new torque split, rear bias torque split, newly standard track-ready brake pads, and staggered wheels now. Great! You want to have the fat tires in the rear. 20-inch wheels with Tesla-specific Pirelli P04 performance tires. The Model 3 Performance has been outfitted with sportier bumpers as well, a new front splitter, revised spoiler, and an aggressive diffuser. Again, they just separated the Model 3. That is something that I said so many times that I wanted to see with the old Model 3. It just looked like a regular Model 3 with the exception of the turbine wheels. But now they went into the driving experience, the suspension, the dampers, the exterior design, and the interior with the carbon fiber. They made it feel like a special car now. You also have new seats here. New sports seats. And these changes for the exterior not only make the car look better, but they also improve aerodynamics. And drag has been reduced by 5%, while lift has been cut by 36%. So equipped with new sports seats here for the Performance as well. Improved bolstering with a deeper, more engaging seating position. You also have a 12-way power adjustment for the seating. And in addition to that, heating and ventilation for the front end. Something that if you pay over $50,000 for a car, that is something that you expect to see. Now, on the inside, you have a 17-speaker audio system, and again, the 15.4-inch infotainment screen, in addition to an 8-inch screen for the rear passenger. So with that said, let's jump into Photoshop here. I want to show you a couple of things. Just a quick heads up before we jump into Photoshop. If you're interested in learning design sketching with me, my 11-hour online class is now only $47, and you'll learn everything from what basic tools to use, ideation sketching, rendering, car design sketching, industrial design sketching, and much more. I'm also going to go over my 2 design portfolios page by page to show you what a portfolio looks like that got me into a master's in automotive design in Italy. Check it out at analogdesignerpropack.com, linked down below. Now, with the previous generations, I said that I wanted to see a more separation when it comes to the styling for the Model Y and the Model 3, and we do have that now. You can see the front end looks completely different from the Model Y here, which I think looks very, very nice. I'm a huge fan of the styling updates for the Model Y in the front end with this beautiful light bar, sort of like a Cybertruck or the Tesla taxi styling that we have going on here. But this is not the headlight. The headlight has been moved now into, look at this, we have a bumper headlight here. So they're following that trend. I like this cut in the body as well, and this upswing that we have for the line down here. You have the cooling opening down here for the battery, and nice fluid lines. They did a very genius design when they first came out with the Model 3 and the Model Y. They kept it very conservative when it comes to the styling, and that is of course to be able to keep these cars in production for a very long time and still make them look modern. So looking at the front end of the Model 3, there's nothing wrong with this. I just think that this headlight unit up here, thankfully they kept it up in the fender and not down in the bumper. But again, I don't think this is a bad integration of a bumper headlight. It looks very cool. But now we still have the headlight up here. But what I would like to see is taking the, let's see which picture this is, the front end. Let's just do a quick redesign here of the Model 3. So let's take the front end of the Model Y, copy this front end, and this Model 3 with the Model Y face looks very, very cool. It makes it feel almost sportier now with this type of styling. So let's see if we can make this fit the front end a little better and also make it red. So first of all, we need to adjust the line flow to have them be connected to the rest of the line flow. I think it's warp. So let's just bring this down a little bit and see this line on the hood. We need to make sure it connects with the hood line that we have on the Model 3, and also the fender line right here, make it feel sort of like it's connected. Then we're going to use the eraser, the airbrush eraser, to smoothly blend these two surfaces into each other and create a brand new front face for the Model 3 here. Try not to erase it too much so that you can see the headlight behind this. Now before we go in and change the color, we need to cut these pieces out. We don't want these to be red. We don't want a red headlight, and we don't want a red grille in the lower section. So we're gonna separate these from the rest of the selection here, so they are not affected by the color change. And now what we need to do is go into the layer that is the front end, go into color balance right here, and let's fiddle around with this and let's see until we get to the right color balance that we want to have. So more of a reddish color, of course, than gray. Now it looks a little bit purple, so let's go in here and hue saturation, and let's fiddle around with this saturation here until we get to the red color that we're looking for. Starting to get close right here, and this is probably as close as we're gonna get for this specific quick redesign that I wanted to show you. But as I said, I think this looks very, very cool to have the front end design of the Model Y onto the Model 3. I think the main reason for that is it has a more aggressive look to it, in my opinion. I think it just suits specifically the performance version to have a front end like this with specifically the light bar, which I think is sort of becoming a piece of Tesla's design language or DNA now, specifically when you have the taxi and the Cybertruck truck coming out. So check this out. Here we have the before and after, like this. Still looks very good. We have the headlights sitting way up higher now, but if we have the light bar, it brings the entire front downwards, and I think it just, again, it just feels more sporty and a little bit more aggressive than the standard Model 3. But continuing here and talking about this design of the Model 3 front end, I'm not opposed to anything that Tesla did with the refresh. I think it looks way more modern than the old model, and we still have the nice, beautiful line flow in the hood here, for example, and this line at the bottom end. We also have this performance-specific lip spoiler in the front end. And honestly, these are some of the best-looking EV wheels on the market today for the new Tesla Model 3 Performance. Now, looking at the side view of the new Model Y, we still have, I do believe that all of these pieces that we have in the side, the doors, the roof line, as well as the hood is probably different, but all these pieces that we have in the side, inside of this area, are all the same from the previous generation Model Y. You can even see that the taillights, they don't look different from the previous one in a side view, but of course, when you look at it from a rear, you're going to notice that we do have something completely different down here. The wheel design, 20 inches as standard. These look pretty cool as well, even though I definitely prefer the old turbine wheels to these wheels. Still has a very fluid looking design, and it still looks very good. Now, looking at the new performance, the key point here that I want to point out are the new wheels. These new wheels are just gorgeous looking wheels, look like an evolution of the old turbine wheels, and I do like the line flow that we have in Tesla. So look at this line down here, how it connects to right into this line right here in the bumper, looking beautiful. And then we have a muscle going over the rear axle, and also a muscle right here going over the front axle, dipping down and sweeping backwards like this. This is still, in my opinion, even when this first came out, Tesla didn't go for this bubble design. Even though the A-pillar in this case, it sits a lot more forward than you would have in an internal combustion engine, but it doesn't feel like a bubble to me. It still looks like this could potentially be an internal combustion engine. Now, looking at the rear ends, this is the most interesting feature for me for the new Tesla Model Y, because this light bar has a very interesting integration. It feels like the light bar sits deep inside of the tail end. You can see just how much that cleans up this area, and then it has this fade light hitting this chamfer, this black chamfer that sits inside the taillight assembly as well. It's just a beautiful new interpretation of how you can make a light bar, not just have it sit flush with the bodywork. Instead, this one feels like it's housed deep within it, and then has this fading light lighting up the black chamfer in the back. Always been a huge fan of this ducktail back here, looking beautiful. We have a new diffuser down here as well. I'm pretty sure that this is a little bit more aggressive than the diffuser that we saw on the previous Model Y, looking nice. Same goes for the Model 3 here. We have a nice new taillight design here with these hollowed out taillights, looking very nice. You have Tesla spelled out. I know a lot of people did this as an aftermarket piece. Instead of having the Tesla logo, they just bought the letters and had it spelled out like this. You have a big carbon fiber wing up top and new diffusers specific for the Tesla Model 3 Performance. Again, very nice, solid changes. It didn't really need to have big changes for this car to make it look like a modern car. Usually what happens is you can take a design from even the 90s, go back to the 90s, and if you update the key graphic features, the headlight and the taillight, you can actually make it look like a modern car. And that is similar to what happened here with the Model 3. Now, looking at the interiors, last but not least, I really like what Tesla tried to do here. They tried to make it more special than the old interiors, and that goes specifically for the design of the steering wheel and this dash design that is brand new. You can see we have ambient lighting going all around here, looking nice. You have the stock here for the Model Y as well, the indicator stock, which is great because I don't want to use the buttons for that. The only difference I can see here from the Model 3 is this piece right here on the side. I don't think we have that on the Model 3. It should be somewhere here, but I can't really see it. Looking at the Model 3 interior here, beautiful again with the light bar that goes around the entire interior. We have a thinner frame for this new 15.4-inch screen. The screen itself, wouldn't call it nicely integrated because, as you can see, it just floating in the middle of nowhere. And you also have two wireless chargers down here now, in addition to these new beautiful sport seats. That is probably the main thing that I wanted to change from the normal Model 3 for the performance, because you need to have more bolstering when you have a quick car that handles as well as the Model 3, and thankfully they added this for the Model 3, and both the Model Y and the Model 3 now comes with heated and ventilated seats, which is great to see as well. So which one of these would I personally buy? So considering that the Tesla Model 3 Performance, first of all, I think it still looks better. It still feels a little bit like the Model Y is just a Model 3 that they stretched out, so the proportions look not as good as the Model 3. And the Model 3 Performance is also cheaper than the Model Y long range, and I prefer sedans overall. So for me, the choice is obvious. I would go for a red Model 3 Performance, of course, with the performance wheels. I do think it comes with the sport seats as standard, and to me, the Model 3 Performance is still one of the best EVs on sale today, and that is the one I would personally pick.